What is this Linux Foundation Mentorship, or popularly known as LFX? In this video, we'll talk about LFX, the application process, and how you can get accepted this year. LFX is a structured hands-on mentorship program for people interested in open source software development. This is very similar to something like the Google Summer of Code. The students or experienced programmers, whoever apply, are termed as mentees. These mentees are paired with experienced mentors and contribute to real open source projects, and they can be compensated for their work via stipends. This compensation is dependent on the project they apply to. Depending on the project, you are paid a stipend between 3,000 USD to over 6,600 USD, which is like over 3 to 7 lakh in Indian currency. LFX mentorship is positioned as a way to train future open source leaders and help the next generation of open source developers. Since 2019, LFX has hosted more than 190 mentees across 96 mentorship programs, including a fairly mature ecosystem as well, not just students. In short, LFX is a remote, term-based mentorship program that places you on real open source projects under a mentor with structured learning and usually a stipend depending on the project you apply to. Now let's talk about the program goals and what is expected of you. First, skill enhancement. You get to improve your technical skills, and this helps you become a long-term open source contributor and even do well in your future internships and jobs. Second, open source culture. This teaches you how open source collaboration actually works. What are the communication norms, how is the review process, and how the community actually works. Third, project improvement. You can strengthen Linux ecosystem projects, which can include security, release quality, and new feature development as well. Fourth, talent development. LFX creates a pool of skilled contributors that companies in the ecosystem can hire from. Next, community growth. You can add diverse, well-trained contributors to open source projects. With those being the benefits you get, there are also some expectations from you. First, you should contribute regularly. Start with smaller tasks, it can be docs, minor bug fixes, and move to more complex work. Work closely with your mentor. Follow a project plan, attend the meetings, and actively ask or answer questions. Be part of the community. Join project calls, mailing lists, or chats and participate in discussions actively. Meet your milestones. There are several scheduled evaluations, usually 3 to 4, where mentors check task completion, engagement, and your progress. And lastly, finish strong. Complete all your milestones and then fill in the feedback to get your letter of completion. So they expect you to behave like a serious contributor on a real project, not just a student doing just assignments. Coming to the program structure and duration, the typical structure looks something like this. The prerequisite tasks and skill evaluation phase. The duration for this is up to 2 weeks. It's not mandatory for every project, so do check it out if your project requires this. Some projects require you to do tasks or tests before your application is even considered. Next is the application process. The duration for this is around 6 weeks. Then there is the review and selection part, which lasts around 2 weeks, where your application and prerequisite tasks are evaluated. Then comes the contract and HR process, whose duration is around 2 weeks again. This includes all the paperwork, agreements, and the HR onboarding. Then comes the actual full-time program. The standard structure for this is 12 weeks, which comes to 40 hours per week as a full-time mentorship program. Generally, each project sets their own final duration, but most start at 12 weeks. Some projects specifically offer part-time or full-time mentorships. So plan for a 12-week term, usually full-time, but details depend on the specific project. So make sure to go through that. Now the big eligibility question. You need to be 18 plus by the time the mentorship starts. So make a note of it. You can't turn 18 after the program has started. You need to be so before the mentorship even starts. Trust me, you don't want to be ineligible due to this criteria. You also cannot be a prior or currently active participant in another Linux Foundation mentorship program, and also must be eligible to work in your country for the program duration. You also must not reside in a country or region where participation is prohibited by the US. Previously, as you might find in some of the FAQs, some participants from Russia, Belarus, and some regions of Ukraine were not accepted for LFX last year. Talking about the application, make sure to apply on your own behalf. You must apply as an individual, not on behalf of an employer or another person. You must not be under obligations to third parties such as employment contracts that would restrict or prohibit your participation. You should also meet project-specific prerequisites. You must meet all criteria and custom prerequisites of the specific mentorship program or project you are applying to. Generally, this is available on every project's page. Also, you should not be a maintainer or recurring contributor with more than minimum existing involvement in that project. This program is meant for emerging contributors, not already established maintainers. You can apply to a maximum of 3 mentorship programs per term. Programs you withdraw from during the application period don't count toward this limit, but reapplying to something does. Let's now talk specifically about the application process. I'll try to break it down step by step. Step 1. Check the eligibility and prerequisites well. Review the eligibility rules. It could be age, prior participation, legal restrictions, anything. For each project you're interested in, carefully read any prerequisite tasks or skill requirements. Step 2. Create your LFX Mentorship account and mentee profile. Go to the LFX Mentorship platform, which can be found on this URL. Then log in with your Linux Foundation or LFX account. If you don't have a profile, click Become a Mentee to create that mentee profile. This is required before applying. Step 3. Browse mentorship programs in the mentorship platform. You can do that by going to the mentorships section to see all the available programs. Use the accepting applications filter to show only projects that are currently open. Step 4. Apply. You can apply up to 3 programs per term as I mentioned earlier. For each project you want to apply to, you click Apply next to the chosen program. On the program details page, review all the information, right from description, duration, prerequisites, and stipend info as well. In the pop-up that comes next, select the specific term, spring or summer or fall, and confirm that. You'll see a confirmation message on the platform. You'll also get a confirmation email that your application was received. Step 5. Complete all the prerequisite tasks. While your application is in the pending status, you must upload documents and complete all the required tasks. The docs explicitly say applications without completed prerequisites will not be accepted. Step 6. Track your status. You can see your application status in your LFX account dashboard. If you withdraw, you can later reapply to the same program using the reapply button on the project card itself. That reapplication counts toward your 3 application limit for that term. You submit applications via the mentorship platform for specific projects. Over at least 2 weeks, project admins and mentors review your profile and background. The maintainers see whether your skills align with the project's needs. After application, let's talk about the selection process. If you're selected, you receive a notification by email or sometimes on the phone as well. You then complete the contract and follow the HR steps to officially join the program. This is where paperwork and stipend arrangements are finalized. During the mentorship selection is not one and done. Continued participation depends on performance. You and mentor follow a project plan and incrementally take on more challenging issues. There are several scheduled evaluations, usually 3 to 4 during the term, where mentors check your tasks and milestone completion. They also thoroughly see the kind of engagement you do with the mentor and across the community. They see whether you have steady progress according to the plan decided earlier. The stipend payments for your project depend on passing these evaluations and meeting objectives. In case you're not selected, LFX encourages you to request feedback, stay involved, and apply again. The docs specifically mention that many successful mentees were not selected in their first attempt. Please make sure that during the mentorship program term, you are expected to attend regular project meetings, complete all the agreed milestones planned earlier, and you should also be consistently active in the project, just like a regular legacy contributor. Think of LFX like a 3-month structured internship in an open source project, where the exact flavor, be it full-time or part-time, is project specific. You should also participate in the community. Make sure to join project calls or meetings. Ask and answer questions in public channels wherever you find it appropriate. Just show steady progress throughout the 12 weeks. Be responsive to feedback and actively iterate on your work based on that feedback. In the end, you receive a digital letter of completion. LFX is designed to give you real experience working like an open source contributor, not just checking off isolated tasks. Talking about some less obvious or hidden details, there are some subtle but important points that don't always get mentioned in quick overviews. First, you can't spam applications forever. You can apply to at most 3 programs per term, including reapplications. Withdrawn applications don't count, but reapplying does. Second, you must complete prerequisite tasks during review. While your application is under review for at least 2 weeks, you're expected to finish all prerequisite tasks. If you don't, your application will not be accepted, regardless of how good your CV is. Next, you can't be too senior on that project. A mentee must not already be a maintainer or recurring contributor with more than minimal involvement in the project. It's explicitly aimed at newer contributors, as I mentioned earlier. Third, you should also not be a salaried employee. Fourth, there are multiple evaluations, not just a mid or final eval. Unlike some programs with only midterm or final term, LFX typically uses 3 or 4 evaluation points during the term to assess the progress and engagement correctly. That's mostly it for this video. I hope I could clear most of your common doubts regarding LFX. If you just follow all the points I mentioned in this video and try to be frank with yourself, I'm sure with some consistency, you can get accepted to LFX this year itself. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you in the next one.